Okay, guys, we can start now. Okay, so before the break, we discussed about many things in Checkpoint, right? Okay, now there are a few things that is left in today's class. One is we have to do the text HTTPS inspection. We have to exclude HTTPS inspection. How to do that? And also there is something called inline layer. Right? We can also learn what is inline layer. And also there are I think a few other things is left. Right? We'll see. Right? Once we start, I'll discuss them. Okay. So yes, let me take the Windows machine. Okay, so we have totally 15 rules in this security policy, and we did almost everything, I guess, right? What are the security policy concepts that we have to discuss? We discussed it, and also geo-based ACL is also left. We'll also learn what is inline layer, and also we'll first to HTTPs exclude HTTPs inspection for financial sites. Okay. So what I mean by that is, when you go to any website, let's say, if you go to accessbank.com, as I already showed you, right? This is a website which comes into financial institution, financial thing, right? So we don't want HTTPS inspection to be applied on these category of websites. So these categories we want them to be directly signed. If you check the certificate, we are doing HTTP inspection even on this certificate, right? So accessbank.com is signed by our checkpoint only. So checkpoint can see what is inside. Okay, so we want SL exclusion for those sites. Let's go to this smart console. Let's go to security policy. Let's click on this arrow, and we have an option called HTTPS inspection, right? I'm gonna click on that. And when you try to select HTTPS inspection policy, see you have two things. One is the normal smart console window. The other one is called a smart dashboard, which is the older version of checkpoints. So, if you work with older versions of checkpoint OS, the interface will be completely different. And here only we have some clean interface. The older checkpoint versions and all, they have a old interface. And HTTPS inspection will open in the old interface only. You have a new interface for these security policy, network address translation, all these things. You have new interface. The old interface is what we have for HTTPS inspection. When you click on this, it's gonna say that you have 8 days. I'm just gonna click on don't show again. Okay, so just give some warning that we have only 8 days left. So now it's gonna open smart dashboard, which is nothing but the older user interface, how checkpoint used to look like. Right? So this is how a checkpoint used to look like. The previous versions of a checkpoint, if you work with checkpoint R77 or even before that, right now we have R80.10, right? In R80.10, most of the things are in this user interface, and few things like HTTP instructions are in this user interface. But R77, everything will be in this user interface only. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and create a new rule. Let's go and new rule above, and we'll see. I'm just going to click on that here. It's asking me what is the name. So exclude SSL inspection. Okay, so I'm just going to give this source is going to be what? It's going to be inside, right? I'm just going to search for inside. Okay, so here we have Chennai inside. Okay, and here internet destination is going to be internet only, or you can even choose outside. I think outside. Okay, it's not coming outside. So because we have only networks here, so here you cannot choose the zone. So anyone from Chennai inside network 1.0 going to the internet destination, if the serves HTTP HTTPS site category, any site, instead of having this any site category, we're gonna add and we're gonna say financial services, right? Sites like PayPal, Bank of America, these sites will come under this. Just click OK and inspect, right? So instead of having this inspect, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and say bypass. Okay, so if someone coming from inside network 1.0 going to internet outside, the servers are HTTP and HTTPS, if the category is financial services, then bypass, right? So that's it. Let's go and save this. Oh, sorry, it's open, right? So I need to save this. So here you have the save icon. So click on save and you can go and close this. And now we can install the policy. Okay, so policy installation is almost successful. It's almost complete. Let's try from Windows machine to some financial websites. So already Axis Bank we visited. Let's go and wait for this to complete. Okay, it's almost done right now. Let us try from some other website. I can go for HDFC Bank. Because this guy will come under that category only. Let's see who's signing the certificate for him. Okay, we'll see. Crystal ng.in is what signing it. Okay, see, usually, this will take few minutes, guys. Once after the installation also, in order to get this applied, you will it will take some time. So right now, even though we excluded it, still we see the banking sites, financial sites are signed by ng.in only, which is a checkpoint firewall. Let's wait for some time. Let's block this and try with, maybe I can try with PayPal. We'll see PayPal. Because once it starts working, it will start working for all the websites. Let's see. Yeah, I think now it should work. Right now we can see PayPal. When I click on PayPal and I click on the certificate, it's signed by whom? For PayPal, why the checkpoint is not signing? Because this guy come under this final site. Now I can even show you the HDFC again. Right, I can show you HDFC. This time HDFC. I think it's coming from the cache, I believe. Let's try with Axis Bank itself. Now Axis Bank was signed by checkpoint earlier. Now let's try axisbank.com. Okay, can you see? Now accessbank.com. So a few minutes back, we saw it was signed by ng.in, but now who's signing it? Right, the real CA is signing it. So which means we are bypassing the SSL decryption for these financial websites. Now I can show you the HDFC Bank one more time. Let's try that. HDFCbank.com. Oh, sorry, I think I made a mistake there. Okay, now let's try. No. Okay, so we'll just give him some time. Okay, I can try some other websites. Maybe I can go for ICICI Bank. Okay, let's see who signed it. No, it's signing. ng.in not signing. Maybe it will take a few minutes, guys. Let's wait and see. Definitely, but definitely it will work. I've seen many batches initially some no 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it won't work, and after that it will start working. Okay, now can you see for ICCI? The same site which was signed just a few minutes back, now it was signed by ng.in earlier, now it is signed by the real CA. Okay, so good. So only thing that is left is we have HDFC Bank left. Let's go and click on that and see HDFC Bank. Come on. Yeah, let's go and refresh maybe one more time. Okay, there you go. HDFC Bank, we got it now. So HDFC, we got the certificate. Right, HDFC now designed by the real CA. Okay, good. So this is something which I want to say, how to exclude HTTPS inspection for financial sites. You can do this way. And the other thing is, Maybe this Google website is signed by the ng.in only. So if you see the Google site, it is signed by ng.in. It only financial sites will be excluded. Okay, so the next thing is we can go and put some geo policy. Right? If you want, right? So you know what is geo policy already we discussed, right? So if you have some servers in some location, in some country, if you don't want users to reach there, then you can only supply the geo policy. Or if you want anyone not to reach your network from some country, you can also do that. Okay. Okay. So we'll see, right? What I'm gonna do is let me start these two servers and let me start this PC also. And we'll see what is a country, right? I think when he comes out, he'll be taking this public AP 100.1.1.2. And we'll see in the logs, we can see the country too, and we can apply a geo-based policy on that. Okay, let's go and try that. I'm gonna go and start these servers. Maybe one server is sufficient. Let's go and start him and assign an IP address to him. SH 192.168.2.2, 255.2.0, 192.168.2.1, 8.8.8. Okay, good. So what is the public IP? The public IP will be 200.0.17. Let's start this guy and try to reach him. Okay, so let's check if you can reach internet. Okay, so he has got internet access. Let's try with links command and access the server in the DMZ zone 200.1.1.17. Okay, yes, so DMZ server is reachable now. Right, we can go and check the logs now. Okay, so we can go and see the logs to see what country it belongs to. Let's go and check on the policies. And where we have outside to Chennai web server, and the log is enabled. Did I? So log is enabled. Let's go and see that. Okay, you can see 100.1.1.2, right? What is the country? It belongs to USA, right? And the destination is 200.17, which is an R server. So if you block USA, this particular IP address will not be able to reach, this particular server, right? Let's go and do the geo-based policy. And I'm gonna say add a region, right? Policy for specific countries, no item selected. I'm just gonna say United States of America. Okay, United States. And action is drop. If you get any traffic from USA, right? Maybe both from and to. If you're going to USA or coming from USA, both are drop. You can also make a log. Okay, and I think yes, so we have to make it active. Right, so active is the activation mode is active, and you have specific countries from and to both are logged right now. Policy for other countries is accept. Right. Okay, I think yes. So we have done it. So let's go and install this. Okay, after the policy installation is done, you should not be able to reach this guy. So we have configured anyone from inside going to USA or anyone from outside coming to coming from USA is not allowed. Let's go and check. If I try to link, so this guy is believed to be a USA IP. So from that IP intelligence, so this checkpoint will block the traffic coming from the IP. Can you see request sent? It's stopping there, but it's not coming back. Okay, so even if I try to reach ping 8.8.8.8, it's reachable. I think why it is reachable. It should not. Because the 8.8 is also in USA only, but I was expecting. So see, this is working from to, but which is not working. Security policy for this is not working. Let's check, please wait. It might take some time. So 8.8.8 is actually USA IP only. Now it's not working. Now it stopped working. No. Okay. Let's wait. Let's try some other IP address. Let me ping 100.1.1.2. It's working. Okay, so please wait. Let me see. Let me check what is wrong. So from this country and two country, both are blocked. And what is actually happening is when you try to access links from this IP address to this IP address, it's not working. 100.2 is not able to reach the web server. Oh, it's reachable. What's happening? Just a few minutes back, it was not reachable. You can check on the policy and you can see this, and I don't know why it's not working. What I'll do is I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to create a new geo policy. Let's try this way. I'm just going to make it separately. So United States, just from country, let's say if someone is coming from USA, they are not allowed. Log, and then the action is drop. Okay, let's create another rule. Okay. Sorry, it should be denied. Okay, so from country USA to country USA, the action is drop. And also let me, so this is the new policy, the custom geo policy is what we have, and let me make it as active. And in the gateway, I'm just gonna go and click on the geo-based ACL. I'm just gonna choose the custom geo policy. Let's try guys, because I don't know why it's not working suddenly. I think something is wrong. Let's see the details. Maybe it's saying you cannot add it twice. Okay, let me put it like this. Okay, so let me try now. How come it's reachable now? Ping 200.1.17. Ping is not reachable because ping has been denied by the rule. Right here we have security policy rule, which is denying this. Source is this IP. So ring should not work, but it's working. I don't know why. Let's go and check the logs and verify that. Okay, we'll check on this later. It's supposed to work, but I don't know, suddenly it's not working. All I did in my previous practices where I just used to add a policy here. And yes, in the policy, you can mention what country you want to block, but I don't know why it's not taking it right now. The active, everything is currently. Okay, we'll see this, guys. I don't know, maybe it should work. I don't know what is wrong. Maybe if you restart the firewall, it might work, but I don't have time for that. Let's go and continue next. So after the break, we discussed about SL decryption, exception for SL decryption, and geo-based ACL doesn't work, but maybe when you try it, it will work, I believe. Or maybe if you restart the firewall, things might work, but we can check that later why it's not working. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to go and explain, I need to explain something called inline layers. So what is inline layers? We have a special feature called inline layer in checkpoint firewall. Okay, so when you go to the security policy, so we have totally 15 rules, right? So rule number 1 till rule number 1 till rule number 15. So we have 15 rules, right? So let me scroll above. Okay, so I see I cannot put everything in a single screen. It's not visible, but you can see that there are 15 rules, right? So I cannot put this in a single screen. From 1 to 10 we have, and then if I scroll above, and you have 5 more. Okay, okay, let me take a screenshot of this. Okay. Okay. So if you see, guys, we have 10 rules here, and we have rule number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we have 5 more rules, right? Okay. So here, if you check the security policy from rule number 11 to 15, the traffic is, not from inside to outside. So what I mean by that is, see, totally we have some 15 rules. In that 15 rules, rule number 1 and 2 is not for inside to outside, right? So we have smart console to gateway, anyway to get anyone to gateway. So what are the inside to outside rules? From rule number 3 till rule number 10, rule number 10, we have rule for inside to outside. Right? How many rules we have? We totally have 8 rules. It's just working for some 1 hour of time in this checkpoint firewall. I was able to create 8 rules for inside outside. Now understand, guys, you have let's say, and I'm just going to take like this. You have policy number 1, 2 for a different direction, but from policy number 3 till policy number 10, all the rules are from inside to outside. Right. Okay. Now let's say that you have a firewall here. So this checkpoint firewall. And if any traffic comes to this particular interface and about to leave this interface, let's say it's an inside outside traffic, and let's say the traffic want to ping this destination, ping 1.2 to 8.8.8. Let's say this is the traffic flow. This is the source and destination IP, and it's flowing in this direction. Now, when the checkpoint firewall gets this, what will happen? The checkpoint firewall have to check with the security policy, right? Now it will check with security policy number one, right? And security policy number one doesn't have the direction match, right? Because if you see security policy number one, it's not from inside to outside, it is from inside to the gateway, right? Okay, security number, I mean policy number one, security policy number one doesn't match. So what the firewall do? It will check the second policy. So for second policy also doesn't match in that particular direction, because again, second rule is also not from inside to outside. So from third rule, you have a direction. Direction is passing, right? So we have, because the traffic is going from inside to outside. In third rule, what we have? We have the direction as inside to outside. Now what can happen is, now here inside to outside. So here we don't even have a match for the direction. It's completely different direction. Here we have a match for the direction. Okay, now rule number three. So rule number three is matching direction because the packet is trying to go from inside to outside. Now what is rule number three? So if you go and check rule number three is nothing but, okay, if someone is trying to go to inside outside, if they're trying to upload a Excel file, then what is action? The action is stop, right? Now, even though the direction is matching, do we have a match for the content? No, so it's not matching. So here the direction is not matching. Here the direction is matching, but the content, right? So we are not actually sending any Excel file inside this. We are just sending a ping request. So the payload is not matching. So what is line number four? Again, line number four will not also match. Line number five will not match, right? All these guys will match in the direction, but they'll not match in the actual content, right? Line number 6, 7, 8, 9, same story for everyone, right? Everyone will match on the direction, but they don't match on the payload, right? So rule number 10. So finally, rule number 10 will match on direction. Because if you see rule number 4, they don't deal with ping request rule, because we have different rules, right? We block certain websites, certain categories, we have certain categories. Anyway, the ping will definitely fall. This traffic sending the ping request from 1.2 to 8.8 will fall under which particular rule? It will fall under rule number 10, right? So now what the firewall will do is, right? Now firewall will check rule number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And in the 10th line only we have a match so that the packet goes, right? And let's see what is the 11th rule. What is 11th rule? 11th rule is inside to DMZ, right? If someone is trying to travel from inside to DMZ, now let's say guys, now instead of pinging 8.8.8, I'm just sending a web request. Let's say I'm sending a web request, HTTP application request to 2.2 web server, right? From inside, I'm just trying to travel from inside to DMZ. Now what will happen? Now we are sending a traffic from inside to DMZ, right? What will happen? So here the direction is not matching. The firewall check, the direction doesn't match. Here the firewall check, the direction doesn't match, because these are not inside to DMZ, and none of them is DMZ to none of them is inside to DMZ, right? So all these rules will fail by seeing the direction, right? And the firewall process one by one, see the direction doesn't match. So finally, when it sees the 11th rule, that is where it finds the direction match, and now the traffic is coming from inside to DMZ. And then what is a web request? What is a payload? So the service is HTTP. Do we have service HTTP allowed? Yes. So the packet flows. Now, if you see this for the packet, right? For this inside to DMZ packet, for it to find a match, it have to the firewall have to check 10 rules, and on the 11th rule only we have a rule that is matching, right? But we can see that all these rules from 3 to 10, they are which direction? They are in one common direction, right? Inside to outside, right? And what is the direction for this traffic? Inside to DMZ, right? Now there is no point in checking all these lines one by one, because they are already inside outside only. Right now the direction is between inside to DMZ. Right now, anyway, the firewall will check the rules one by one. It will check this rule, right? Whenever it finds a match, it will just process and it will stop. If there is no match, it will keep running, and finally it finds a match on rule number 11, and it's sending the packet because it's from inside to DMZ. Now, is there any way to optimize this? Because see, if you have 8 lines here, 2 lines here, and the 11th line is what finding a match when you try to ping from 1.2 to 2.2. If it is really 8 lines here, not a problem. Is what if it is 800 lines? So 800 lines here you have, and what if you have 200 lines here? Right? What if you have some 500 lines over here? So because in production environment, you will have different requests, different scenarios. You might create many rules. So in production, if you have many rules, now just see, totally we have 1,500 rules, right? In which 200 rules or for something else. Let's say 800 rules is for inside to outside, and then 500 rules we have for inside to DMZ, right? And now what have to happen is, right, if you send a packet from 1.2 to 2.2, so this 200 lines have to be first checked, and if there is no match, and again this 800 lines have to be checked, and there is no match, then after that, after crossing 1,000 lines only, right, now you find some rules on this 500 rules, some lines on this 500 rules, and you'll forward the packet from inside to DMZ. Right, instead of doing all these things, what you can do is, so checkpoint, you can optimize this, you can optimize the way the how many rules the firewall have to check by creating something called inline layers. You can call this inline layers, or you can call it as a ACL inside ACL. Right, because we have a security policy, right? All we have is ACL or security policy. Now we're going to create a security policy inside a security policy. Right? So the simple logic is, right, I can explain from here itself, guys. So here, now to find this particular line, the firewall checked 10 lines and finally it found the 11th line. How can I optimize this? Is I'm going to create a inline layer for each and every direction of traffic. So if I have a direction from inside to outside, right, and I'm going to create one inline layer, and I'm going to have many sub rules inside that. Right, I'm going to create all my 8 rules inside that. So one rule, or maybe let's say this is rule number 2, and inside rule number 2, I have 8 sub rules, right? And rule number 1. So this is rule number 1, and this is anyone to the gateway, right? So anyone to the gateway, and inside that I have 2 rules. I have 2 rules. So rule number 1 and rule number 2, and this is rule number 1 till rule number 8. So I'm just going to do like this, guys. So this is going to be the rule number 1, and if anything matches the direction, right? If anything matches the direction, only then the firewall will go and see the sub rules inside that. So first, I'm just saying the firewall to match the direction. Okay, if anyone is trying to reach the gateway, then go and check the rules inside. And if someone is checking, or if someone is going from inside to outside, if the direction matches, then check the rule inside. And now I'm going to create another rule here. So let's say this is rule number 3, and I'm just seeing this as inside to DMZ, and I have one rule inside that. Now the point is, right? See, if the rules are organized in this way, right? If you have some 10 rules and the 11th rule as this, here also we have the same thing. Only here also we have the same thing. But these rules are not the main rules. These rules are the sub rules. When the sub rules will be checked, the sub rules will be checked only if the direction of the main rule matches. So here you have one main rule. Here you have one main rule. Here we have one main rule. Right? So the sub rules will always be checked only if the main rule matches the direction. Okay, now what happens is, if you're sending the same packet from inside to DMZ 1.2 to 2.2, this is coming from inside going to DMZ, right? So now what will happen is, just by seeing rule number 1 itself, rule number 1 says what? Any device trying to reach the gateway, only then sub rules will be checked. Are we trying to reach the gateway? No. So we are trying to reach 2.2. So the main rule itself is not matching. So there's no point in checking the sub rules. So now here we check this and doesn't match, so we skip these 2 rules. And next the firewall will come to the second main rule, and it checks the second main rule. And what the second main rule says, any traffic that is going to inside outside, it only will be checked. Now do we have 2.2 outside direction? No, we have 2.2 where we have 2.2 inside. So which means now here the direction is inside outside, but the direction of the traffic is inside of DMZ. Now here also it doesn't match. Now it's going to completely skip all these 8 lines. That's going to go to the 3rd line. Right? So now here, how many rules the firewall really checked? It checked 1 rule, it checked 2 rules, and on the 3rd rule, it's finding inside DMZ, and then it's going to go and find a rule inside that, so that it's go and checks. So here you can find that this is what the optimization I'm talking about, guys. If the normal way, right? Right now, what we did, we created rules in no in next way. Now all the rules are like this. So here, in order to find the 11th rule, how much rules the fire mean? In order to find the matching rule, how many rules the firewall checked here? In this case, 10 rules, and then 11th rule, then it got a match. But here, if you create inline layers or inline rules or ACL inside an ACL, here the processing time is so less because here the direction will be first matched. If the direction doesn't match, then it won't check any of the sub rules. It will directly go to the next main rule. I'll check the direction again. If it again doesn't match, then go to the next main rule and it will try to find the match. Right? Okay, let's go and create some inline layers. So inline layer in the sense, inline layer is in the sense you create a main rule, and then inside that you will have many sub rules. That's what inline layer is. Okay, let's go and create inline layers here. So first I'm going to go and create an inline layer here. Okay, here I'm going to go and create a new, sorry, I think, okay, I'm just going to create a new rule above. Okay, so this is going to be main rule for gateway. Let me type again. Okay, so I'm just gonna say this as, okay, here what I can do is I can go and click on right click. Sorry, I think I need to go here, inline layer, new layer. Okay, I think I need all these things. Okay, so let me give a name called gateway. I can give the same name also, main rule. Okay. So yes, so we created a main rule. Here I'm gonna say anyone coming from anyone, right? It will be anyone coming to the destination of Chennai gateway. Okay, so yes. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy these two rules because they are going to the destination of gateway, right? I'm going to copy them, or maybe I'm going to cut them and I'm going to paste it before them. New rule, paste above. So all I have is I have rule number 1, which is a main rule, and 1.1, 1.2, 1. These are the sub rules. You understand? So yes, so let's go and close this. So we created a main rule for anyone to gateway. Right? So we usually these inline layers are focused on the directions only. So you can reduce the number of rules so that the firewall will process less number of rules and just find the match so fast it can. Okay, so now we're going to create a new rule above, and from rule number 2 till rule number 9, I guess. Right, all these cases are inside rules, so inside outside. Let's go and create a new rule above. Main rule for inside. I'll just put into out. Okay, so let's go and make him as inline layer as well. Layer. I'm gonna say main rule for into out. Okay, so I'm just gonna check this one as well. Okay, good. Okay, so we got an inline rule, main rule for into out, right? And we have only one sub rule inside that, which is a cleanup rule, because anytime you create a inline layer, you always get a cleanup rule at last. I'm just gonna take all these guys and I'm gonna cut and put them above this cleanup rule. So paste above. Okay, that's really nice. Okay, so now see, can you see how much rules? So far we had 10 rules, right? The first 10 rules are now reduced into 2 rules. Now I can create rules for these guys also outside to DMZ. Now I can do this. Anyway, this is one rule. This is also one rule, DMZ outside. So we have 2 rules here. So we can create a layer for this. So let's go and create a new layer above outside main rules. So outside out to DMZ. Okay, here we have so drop is the action. We'll go and make him inline. Okay, so I'm going to take 6 and 7, cut them and put it before. Okay, there you go. So now the 15 lines are now reduced into 6 lines. Now, if there is a traffic that is coming from inside to DMZ, let's say now inside to DMZ, now first rule will check the direction. It's not going to the gateway, so skip. And second rule, it's not going to, oh, sorry. This is what important here is, guys. You have to just make sure that you add this because this is a point here. So inside to outside only traffic only should match here. If you leave it as any, then there is no point in creating inline rules. You have to make it as inside. Okay, anyone coming from inside going to outside should only match one should only be matched on main rule number 2, and then once it matches, if someone is matching on main rule number 2, all these sub rules will be only checked after that. Got the point? Okay, so here also we have to make it like this. So anyone coming from outside going to DMZ, right? If the direction is this way, then the sub rules will be checked. 5.1, 5.2 will be checked, and if it's allowed, they are allowed. That's it. This is what inline rule is, guys. Inline layer. The concept of inline layer is you can reduce the number of lines, and there is a match. All the further lines will be checked. In Palo Alto, we don't have specific concept called inline layer, but in Checkpoint we have it. So that if you have finder lines in which they are in out of that finder lines, if 200 lines are going in one particular direction, always all the 200 rules in one particular direction, instead of having this 200 rules, you can have one rule, one main rule, and you can have those 200 rules as a sub rule. Right? So it will definitely save some resources for the firewall. Right? Okay, so now if I add any rule from inside outside, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add into this 2, and I'm going to add anything here. If I'm going to create a new rule, I can create it after 2.8. Right? So that it doesn't really affect the traffic flowing from inside to DMZ. This is what inline layer is. Okay, let's go and install the policy. See, the working is exactly same way. All we did is, right, we are just making the firewall to improve the performance and work faster. Either you create an inline layer or not, it doesn't matter. The firewall working will be same, but inline layers will be easy for the firewall to process the packet. So yes, so we'll install the policy. So you can also create inline rules for these also, right? Inline layers for them also. But since it's already one line, right? I didn't create any layer. But if you have multiple lines for inside DMZ and DMZ outside, also I'll also create a rule for them also, right? If you have some 5 lines here, 5 lines here, I'll create an inline rule or inline layer for them. But since they are already single rule, I didn't do it, right? So where we have multiple rules, the first one, there's got 2 rules, we put them into one rule. Second one, we are 8 rules, we put them into one rule. And fifth one, we have 2 rules, we put them into one rule. Okay. Okay, succeeded. Good. So I think yes. So we have done it. And next thing is you can also there is also option called section. So what this section is, maybe for example, let's say you just you expanded and you have so many rules inside this too, right? Now, if you want to further clarify, or if you want to segregate them, you can do it like this. What I mean by that is, right, let's say okay, I'm just going to create a new section for 2.1 and 2.2. I'm just going to go and click new section title above. Okay, I'm gonna say upload and download restrictions. Okay. So now you can have it, and so these are the two lines which will come under that. And I'm gonna say block apps. So see, once I create, I'll tell you what I did. I'm just gonna create a new title above, and I'm gonna say block apps and sites. Okay. So next is inform and ask. I'll just put it as inform and ask because we have the action as inform. We'll have like inform and ask actions. Okay, so here I can say a new title above block. Okay, so now next we'll go with this. Okay. See, guys, so what is the advantage of this is, see, there is no performance difference in this, right? If you, these are basically the sections. Now to organize things properly, you can just do like this. Okay, now what I have is, right, we had totally some 10 rules, I believe, 9 rules, right? See, now instead of having them as 9 rules, of seeing them just as 9 rules, we can create some titles, right? And know when you want to change something on upload and download restriction, right? It just shows you things in a smaller way. That's it. Apart from that, there is no advantage. So you can create titles or you don't want to. And creating titles will give you, a clean look. That's it. Right? There is no performance difference. Whereas inline layers, they really do difference on the performance of the firewall. But titles are just for the just to organize things properly and to have a better view, better clarity about the rule you can create. This is a non-technical configuration. Okay, so if you want to change something on upload and download restriction, you can just click on this and you can make a change. Maybe if you want to allow them on all days, or if you want to add weekdays, like let's say you just want to add on weekdays, then yes, you can add, you can just, you have a section, right? So it just gives you an organized way of showing the rules. That's it. Okay, so if you want to make anything on the app changes, you can just click on this and you can make changes. You can add the apps over here, or you can just go and do anything else also, right? And if you want to just allow few other traffic options, right now we have allowed only what HTTP, HTTPS, and these things. If you want to allow something, you can have it. Okay, so basically, titles are a non-technical, but a way to organize the rules, right? So you don't have to see all the rules. So if you just go here, if you know that you want to exactly work on the custom site, you can just expand this guy alone and work on that rule alone. You don't have to see any other rules. That is the option. That is what titles are. Maybe you can work with titles if you wanted to organize the rules properly. Again, I'm telling you, technically, there is no difference on creating titles, whereas inline layers will reduce the number of rules really, but this titles will not do that. Okay, so now let's go and wipe this lab and check on that the next one, which is the standalone architecture of checkpoint. Okay, I'm just going to stop this. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Okay. So yes, let me wipe the lab now, or let me stop the lab. Okay, so now see what we did in checkpoint SMS separately and checkpoint gateway separately. We're just gonna know how to do it together. So we're gonna go and work on the next lab, which is the standalone architecture. Let's close this lab. So again, right, can you see the file number 2? So where we have standalone architecture, we just have only one device. So this device is gonna act like gateway as well as it's going to act like a SMS, right? So we have one device. Okay, let's go and start the ISP router firewall. And here the Windows machine. See, I'm just going to go and do the first time wizard around, guys. I'm not going to do anything technically too much, right? All what we did in the previous labs, right, or previous last no today's session, the last session of checkpoint, everything is possible even in the standalone architecture. The standalone is same as distributed. So what we did earlier, having a separate SMS and separate gateways distributed, and this is standalone. All right. Functionality is same, right? You don't have any difference. I'll just tell you how to enable them, how to do the first time wizard. I'll create some sample rules so that it just we can reach internet. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything apart from that. Okay, because we know how to do it, right? It's the same interface, everything the same. All you do is only one particular. The gateway is going to be the SMS, right? So one device for both. Okay, so let's go and click on the Windows machine and give him an IP address. So this time it's going to be 1.2 IP because since we don't have SMS, after 1.1, the next IP can be given to this Windows machine 1.3. Okay, let's go and assume an IP address 1.2, 192.168.1.2. I think Srikanth, you are drawing something in my screen always. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so yeah, so 1.2, the mask is this, the gateway is going to be 1.1, 8.8.8.8. Okay, let's go and do the first time wizard for the device. So this guy is going to be gateway as well as SMS. Okay, let's go and open the IE because Internet Explorer is the best browser for this. Let's go and type the access HTTPS 192.168.1.1. Okay, continue. Any other login page of checkpoint? Username is admin, password is admin123. Okay, checkpoint first time wizard. Okay, next, 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 next. Okay, we'll have this guy as gateway SMS, both. Right. So primary DNS server, it can be 8.8.8.8. And next. Okay, so I think time zone, usually it will be detected. So if since it's not detected, when you go to next, it'll just freeze in this screen. So what we can do at this point of time is you can refresh and you can start things from the beginning. So sometimes it happens like this. Next, next, next. Now everything will be there, guys. All these names are there, right? All you need to do is when you just refresh and give next, you will have the gateway, the name option and the DNS option. Let's give next, and this time can you see it detected Kolkata, Asia. Next. Okay, so here we have to select both. This is the only difference. So if it is security gateway, we uncheck this and we install security gateway, right? This SMS, we uncheck the first one and we install security SMS alone. And but here we're gonna have both, so it's going to be both. And let's give next. Let's give next. Let's give next. And this time now there is an option called SIC. We discussed about this in the previous class. Secure internal communication. What is SIC? We just have a key for the gateway. So if the same key is provided on the SMS side, then you have the trust established. But since it's going to be the same device in which you have the SMS as well as the gateway, right? You don't want to have a separate SIC protocol because it's on the same device, right? So the device trusts himself. So there's no need for SIC. Let's go and finish this. So yes. Okay, so it'll take a few seconds, guys. Let me pause the recording. Okay, so finally, the first time is done. Let's give OK to reboot the firewall. It's not just a firewall, it's both right now. It's SMS as well as firewall. Okay, so after the reboot, what we have to do is, right, from the topology, you can see now. So this guy is the SMS as well now. Okay, so here we have the internet. Now I'm just going to go and connect to this IP address itself, right? So in order to access the SMS, I'm going to take the Smart Console application. And from the Smart Console application, I'm going to directly access this firewall on the IP address, the SMS as well as the firewall 1.1, and we'll be getting the dashboard of the firewall. So we'll contact, right now, we're going to contact the SMS service on the device, and we'll configure the SMS service, and SMS service will push the policy to the gateway service, right? It's the same device, but two different services are running on the same device, two different products, right? You are contacting the SMS product of that hardware, and from that SMS product, you're contacting the gateway product of the same hardware, right? So there is no need for trust establishment, but all the other remaining concepts are same only. Let's go and see that. Okay, so let's go and check if the firewall is up. Yes, it's up right now. We'll log in into the firewall admin 123. So basic setup is, so basic IP address assignments, and then default route. Those things I'm going to do now. So let's go and click on the network interface. Okay, so you can select this and click on the edit option. Enable the interface, and we're going to have this is DMZ 192.168 2.1 it should be. Mask is going to be 255.255.255.0. Okay, give OK. And then we're going to have the public IP for the outside interface. So this guy is going to be 200.1.1.16. So enable the interface 200.1.1.16. Okay, so we have these states up. Good, let's go and configure the default route alone. So let's go to the, okay, so there's a default route already, but the gateway is set to none. We have to set the gateway alone. So we need to add a gateway IP address. And what is a gateway IP? That's going to be the next top IP address, which is 200.1.1.1. Okay. So good. So here we are pointing into this gateway. Okay, let's go and try this now. Okay, now let's take the Smart Console. That's it, right? The configuration is over. Now we need to go and take the Smart Console, do some security policy, and just check the internet reachability. That's it. So right now, if I reach internet by ping 88888, it won't work because the firewall has got a default deny all rule. So there's a cleanup rule, right? So that will deny the packet. Yeah, let's go and check this. Okay, so the username password is admin123, and make sure that you change this IP address, guys. It's not 1.0 because 1.0 is the Windows machine now. 1.1 is the SMS. Let's go and click on him. Okay, so let's give proceed. Now it'll connect to the device, initialize the service, and then you're gonna get the dashboard, I think. Okay, so this is the error that you may get, guys. Unable to connect to the server, and please make sure all the process of the servers are up and running. See, it's not actually an error. All we need to do is wait for some time. Wait for a couple of minutes, and if you try, it'll work, right? I'm gonna pause the recording. Okay, so I just went back and I'm gonna log in again. Let's see this time if it works. Okay, it says now we get a different error saying unable to connect to the server is initializing. So again, now this is the next step, right? And now the first problem is over, right? Again, it's asking us to wait for a few more seconds and we'll be able to get the server initialized and get the access. Okay, so let's wait for a couple of wait for a few seconds. Okay, let me try now again. Admin123. Okay, maybe same error I'm getting. Let me try again. Admin123. Okay, so we need to wait for I think maybe a minute again. Okay, let me try now. I think yes, now it's working, initializing services. So as soon as we get the dashboard, we'll create one rule, and now we'll just check the interreachability alone, and we can end the class. Okay. So see, the interface doesn't change. It's the same interface only. Right? Now you don't have to add any new gateway here because we have the same device that has been already added. You don't have to add any gateway because if it is a distributed architecture, you have to add the gateway. But if it is standalone, then there is no need to add the gateway because the gateway itself is the SMS. So all I'm going to do is, now usually I want to clarify one thing. Here also you can create the same zones, guys. Here also when you go to the network management, you can click on get interface with topology and it will get the topology, so you can accept, right? And you can go and edit the zones. So it's the same thing. What you did exactly there is also possible here, right? You can, you know, right now the security zone is none. You can modify that and you can add this guy into the inside zone. So those things are possible. But here, checkpoint will also allow you to have, a rule without zones. So far in the previous classes, on the previous labs and all, we worked with zones only, right? We have inside, outside, or we have outside to DMZ, something like that. But in Palo Alto Firewall, you definitely want to configure something called zones. Zone is a mandatory part in Palo Alto because Palo Alto is zone-based firewall. But checkpoint is not zone-based firewall. If you want, you can have zones. If you're used to two zones, then you can create zones. That's what I did in the previous lab. Last class or today's class previously we did. But if you don't want to have zones, right? If you just want to have a network address and if you want to create some rules, that's absolutely possible. You can create zones or you can also create the rules with the network address itself, right? So since I already created zones in the previous lab, this time I would like to go and create a rule without zones. I'm not going to create any zones here, but I found I can create the zones and I can call that in the rule, but I'm not going to do that. Let's give on cancel, right? And I'm going to go and click on the security policy. And I'm going to create a rule, but this time I'm just going to directly call the network address itself. Okay. So yes, so there is a cleanup rule we have, which will drop the traffic. I'm going to create a rule above that. So new rule above, and I'm going to say, we can have the name anything that you want, inside to outside, or any name is fine, guys. It's up to you. I'm just having inside outside. The source is what? The source is going to be, right? See, there is no zone called inside. If I search for inside, there is no zone called inside because we never created a zone called inside. If I create it, I can call it here. Since I didn't create, and I'm not going to create it, but this time I'm going to create a new network. Right? While I'm adding it, I'm creating a new network and I'm saying this is inside network. And I'm going to say network address of this is 192.168.1.0. 1.0, the mask is 255.255.2.0. Right, and obviously we want network address translation to be done. Right, so this time I can click on this. Right, I can go and choose hide NAT, and I can say on this SMS. Okay, good. So let's go and select this. Okay. So inside network is here. Destination is any, which is internet. Right. Anyone from inside network going to any destination. VPN not required. So I'm just going to check this. Service application, any action is accept. Right. Let's go and install the policy. So after the policy has been installed, we should be able to reach internet. Okay, so I'm just going to have some unlimited ping going on here. So ping -t 8.8.8. So as soon as the policy installation is over, you should be able to see this ping working. So we can have it. Can I have both? I think it's not possible to show both. But anyway, right, once the policy is installed, we should be able to see the ping coming up here. You can see the percentage here, right? Okay, there you go. So almost the policy is installed and we have internet access. It's not that you need to always have both SMS as well as gateway. You can always have a single device which is called as a standalone architecture. Any doubts in this? Because everything else is same way. See, there is nothing like, you know, these concepts can be done on distributed architecture and this concept can be done on standalone. There is nothing like that, right? Anything that you did on standalone can be done on distributed as well. Right? So vice versa. Any doubts? Okay. So then we'll end the meeting here. See you guys in the next class.
Hello.
Yes, Srikanth, yes.
What is the major difference between that firewall and distribution firewall and this firewall?
I didn't get your question, which is what is the difference between you?
What is the major difference between these two firewalls?
You mean Palo Alto and Checkpoint?
No. In Checkpoint only. Before we have used.
Oh, it's not basically,
device.
yeah. So it's not basically two firewalls. It's also one firewall only, but we was managing that with an SMS. So your question is, what is the major difference between standalone architecture and then distributed architecture?
Yeah.
Distributed is what we discussed before this. See, the main difference is, you know, standalones are used in small offices where you just have only one site, and for that one site, you don't want to have two different devices like SMS and gateway. But in big organizations where you have multiple sites, let's say, you know, if you have some 10 sites or 15 sites, then you can you need to have a central management server, right? From the central management server you can control all the firewalls. So in a big organization also, right, if you have 10 websites, 10 sites, 10 locations, in headquarters you will have SMS, and that SMS will control the firewall that is in the headquarters, as well as that SMS will control the firewall in all the sites also. Right? So every organization will have firewalls on their sites, but the SMS will be in the headquarters. From the SMS, they'll control it. So when you have multiple sites, you go for a distributed architecture. When you have a single site, then you can go for a standalone architecture.
Okay, it is like in Palo Alto Panorama, something is another.
Yeah. So exactly like that.
Both are.
Yeah, both are same only. In Palo Alto, why we have Panorama is if you wanted to push a common policy in many devices, you use Panorama, right? But here the same thing only. But here you have a concept called SMS, and then two products here. So SMS product and then the firewall product, where there is no such thing. There is no separate management device. If you want, you can add the Palo Alto. But if you want, you can add the Panorama in Palo Alto. But here, it is definitely the product have to be installed. Only SMS can control the gateway. So either you can have the SMS product on a separate device or you can have it on the same device itself. But in Palo Alto, it's not like that, right? Panorama is an additional option. If you want to push a policy on a bulk number of devices, you can use Panorama. But here, even to push a policy on a single device, you need the SMS product. But the point is, product can be on same device or it can be on different device also.
Okay, thank
you. Okay. Okay, so let me stop the recording here.